The abandoned vessel. It was a moonless night in 1904, and the sea was calm. We had just finished our evening meal and were settling in for a long night's watch when the lookout spotted something in the distance. "Ship ahead," he shouted, pointing towards the horizon. Our captain, a seasoned seaman with decades of experience, ordered us to prepare for action. We had encountered hostile ships before and were ready to defend ourselves. But as we approached the other ship, we realized something was wrong. The ship was adrift in the water, its sails torn and its hull battered. There was no sign of life on board. The captain of the Endeavour cautiously boarded the ship, with the rest of us following closely behind. As we searched the abandoned vessel, we found no sign of the crew. The galley was still warm, as if someone had just cooked a meal, and the captain's quarters were in disarray, with papers and books scattered everywhere. But there was no sign of the crew. As we prepared to leave the ship and continue on our journey, something caught my eye. In the corner of the captain's quarters, hidden behind a pile of papers, was a small wooden box. I opened the box and gasped in horror. Inside was a strange, twisted object, made of bones and sinew and strange, pulsating veins. It looked like nothing I had ever seen before, and yet I knew, with a deep sense of foreboding, that it was not of this world. As we returned to the Endeavour, we could feel a sense of unease settling over the crew. The abandoned ship had a strange aura of darkness and despair, and we couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen on board the Endeavour. Crew members reported hearing strange whispers in the night, and several men claimed to have seen ghostly figures wandering the decks. Some even reported feeling a cold, clammy hand on their shoulder, only to turn around and find no one there. As we continued our journey towards the island, the strange occurrences became more and more frequent. Equipment went missing, and strange symbols began to appear on the walls of the ship. The crew became increasingly restless and paranoid, and it was clear that something was very wrong. One night, as we were sleeping in our bunks, we were awoken by a blood-curdling scream. We rushed to the deck, only to find one of our crew members lying on the ground, his body twisted and contorted in a grotesque and unnatural way. We could hear strange chanting coming from somewhere deep within the ship, and we knew that we were in the grip of something far more sinister than any storm or sea monster. The captain ordered us to abandon ship, and we made our way to the lifeboats as quickly as we could. As we rowed away from the Endeavour, we could see strange shapes moving across the deck, and we knew that we were being followed by something dark and malevolent. Days later, we washed up on the shores of a small island, battered and bruised, but alive. We never spoke of the horrors we had witnessed on board the Endeavour, and we never forgot the strange object we had found on the abandoned ship. To this day, we wonder what happened to the crew of that cursed vessel, and we know that we were lucky to escape with our lives intact. But the strange object haunted us, and we knew that it was no ordinary artifact. It seemed to pulsate with a dark energy, and we could feel its malevolent presence even when it was locked away in a strongbox. It was as if it was calling out to us, beckoning us to release it from its confinement. As the years went by, we tried to forget about the object and the horrors we had witnessed on board the Endeavour. But it was always there, in the back of our minds, a dark and ominous presence that we could never shake. And then, one day, the object was gone. We don't know how it happened or who took it, but we knew that it was no longer in our possession. And we knew, with a deep sense of dread, that it was out there somewhere, waiting for someone to unleash its terrible power. Over the years, there have been rumors of ships disappearing in the same area where we found the abandoned vessel. Some say that they were swallowed up by the sea, while others whisper of a dark and malevolent force that lurks in the depths. We never speak of the object, but we know that it is still out there, waiting for someone to find it and unleash its terrible power. And we can only pray that no one ever does.